Tripltek 7-inch Android tablet. 1200 nits. Is this a replacement or an alternative to the DJI Smart Controller? Maybe. Maybe not. Let's talk about it for a while, shall we? Hey, so Brian here with you, and welcome to my channel, and thanks for taking a look at this one real quick. Yeah, I got this Tripltek Android tablet about a week ago. In fact, I don't even think it's been a week. And I've been putting it through its paces, and for the most part, it's pretty good. There's some pros and cons with any device that you're going to get, and we're going to go through just about all of those. Luckily, I can tell you right now, most of them are pros, but there is one big con, and I'm not real happy about it, but it is what it is, and hopefully we can get something worked out with the manufacturer of this device, because I am pretty happy with it. It's just that it's got some couple of issues, but we'll get into that shortly. Okay, so in this screenshot from Tripltek's website, which is tripltek.com, this is an overview of some of the features of the tablet. As you can see, one of the things is a 1200 nit display, and it's really bright. I mean, you don't miss much even in direct sun, so it's always a good thing. This thing is pretty much a military grade device. It's cushioned and bracketed pretty well, where it says protected against the elements. All of the ports, USB port, power ports, anywhere you could shove a cable into, have a rubber cover over them, so it really helps keep the elements out. You can hook it up to your data plan. It will also work on Wi-Fi. It has Bluetooth. It has a very long battery, 10,000 milliamp battery, and to be honest with you, when I first got it, I thought it would be 50% full, and it was completely full, completely charged, and I left it alone. It was almost 5 days before I needed to charge it, and then it still had 27% on it, so it could have gone probably for another day. Very impressive. Okay, so I could sit here and start rattling off the specs of this device, but you can also go to tripltek.com, and it has a tab just for the specs that are involved for the device. But a couple of the major ones I do want to hit on because they're very important. The CPU, which is the brain of it. It is a 2.52 gigahertz, 10 core, 64-bit, which is kind of equal to anything Windows think. It has 6 gigabytes of RAM, and it has an internal memory storage of 128 gigabytes. And if you add an SD card, it can handle another 128, giving it a total of 256 gigabytes, which is a pretty good chunk of storage for anything you might need, especially if you're shooting a lot of 4K video. You can probably put days and days of 4K video on this thing, not to mention 1080p. It'll hold quite a bit of 256 gigs, so that's always a good plus. So when you first get this thing, one of the first things you're going to be thinking of is, well, how is this going to work with my remote control device or whatever drone I'm flying? And I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here, because I do have 3 drones, a DJI Mavic Zoom, and a Mavic Air 2, and an Autel Evo, and I'm going to show you 3 different setups of how they can work with whatever you're trying to work it in with. So let's take a look at those. Starting with the Mavic Air 2, we're looking at a picture of how the Tripltek sits in the adapter that sits into the remote controller for the Mavic Air 2. It really doesn't change the weight too much from as if you were using an iPad the way I usually do with this type of setup. Once again, these adapters can be purchased at Amazon or any of the other retailers. They're fairly common. Next we have the Mavic 2 Zoom and its remote controller setup for the tablet, for the Tripltek tablet. And this is a side view. And here I just want you to notice the cable. You're probably going to have to get a bunch of different cables for each drone you might have. This Tripltek, its main USB port is a USB-C, so it depends on what drone you're flying, you're going to need to find something that works with it. In this case, it's going to be a USB-A to C. So for the last setup, we have the Autel Evo setup. It has the remote controller as well as a Thor lift tablet holder. And one thing I do want to bring your attention to is the connection cable, which goes from the remote controller to the Tripltek tablet. In this instance, this requires a different type of setup. We're looking at a micro USB at the controller and a USB-C at the Tripltek device. And it does take an adapter, or it did take me an adapter to get it there, as I could not locate a micro USB to USB-C. Okay, so when I was mentioning the adapters, the Tripltek unit does come with a bunch of different cables, and it comes with a couple of adapters that will fill the bill for a lot of the things you may need. Let me see what you got here. This is there's two of them here. USB-A to micro USB, and female micro USB to USB-C. The problem I have with adapters like this is I've always considered them something of a point of failure. So what I usually try to do, and I tried to do it in that case with the Evo, was to buy one cable. Now this cable here, I did buy this on Amazon. This is a USB-A to USB-C. This cable is a foot long. Let me see if I can get in the camera. The good thing about a foot long cable is you've got a lot less chance of kinkage, of signal loss, of data loss. It just makes for a better signal between the RC and the device. So you might want to invest. They're not real expensive. They're maybe $7 or $8 on Amazon. Another thing too is for the Mavic Air, which does have USB-C, I went ahead, and they did have a cable like this, but I went ahead and purchased several different kinds. This one I think this is an Anchor. This is USB-C on both ends, male. So that's what would work for the Mavic Air 2. The cables that the manufacturers, for any manufacturers, are never the best. Sometimes, they say they are, but I know what works, so I always go with what works, even if it costs me a little bit of extra money. And I have field tested these cables out in the field, and I have had no issues, even with, as in the case of the Autel Evo, which takes a micro USB and one of the adapters to make it work in the Tripltek, because here we're going micro USB to, if I can get it in there, to USB-C. This goes to the RC, this goes to the Tripltek. They fit very snug, really well. For all purposes, the Tripltek recognizes the RC, so I know it's not an issue. There are other issues though with the Autel, which we'll be going into. Another thing I'd like to mention about the Evo and its remote controller is it does have two ports, if I can show them to you here. I feel like I'm doing show and tell at school. So let's see, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there we go. That's the remote controller, just for anybody who wants to know. So what you're looking at there is a micro USB there on the left and a USB-A on the right. Now here's the thing. Either one of those ports work on my iPad or my Samsung Tab A. In other words, if I have a USB-A to whatever pad I'm going to, that USB-A port works just fine. With the Tripltek, the only one that works of these two ports is the micro USB. That USB-A port, as far as I can tell, is not functional. I've tried 3 or 4 different cables in there because I have got a bunch of USB-A to micro USB cables, and that would be a wonderful thing if I could get any of those to work, but for some reason it is not active on that port. So that is one of the things maybe Tripltek might look into fixing, if there is a fix for it. So trying out the Tripltek and the Mavic Air 2, there weren't really that many issues that I came across. In fact, there were really none. I put this thing through a bunch of paces. I flew it out a good ways away from me, maybe about a quarter of a mile. This is in an area that I'm very familiar with. I did a hyperlapse, I did a bunch of quick shots, and in other words, the tablet worked the way any other tablet would. There were no issues that I could find at all, so A+ on this part of the test. Next up, we did the test next with the Mavic 2 Zoom. Not much to tell on this one. Everything pretty much went the same, so I'm really not going to go into too much detail. Suffice to say, it did as well as the Mavic Air 2. There were no issues to be found distance-wise, any features, just A+. Let's do this just for posterity. One of the other tests that I wanted to run with the Tripltek was try to stress the CPU. And the best way I knew how to do that was to run the DJ Fly app, send the drone out, and at the same time run AZ Screen Recorder. Both are CPU intensive apps, and I was very, very pleased with the result, as you can see here in this. I didn't go too far of a distance. What I was looking for, though, was time and temperature. And by that, what I mean is, on this particular day, it was 86 degrees out, mostly sunny, some clouds, humidity of about 78%, and I am standing in the direct sun with the Tripltek tablet flying this, and normally this would have crashed my iPad on any given day under these same conditions. The Tripltek barely got warm, which was to me very impressive. So that AMD 2.52 CPU is definitely a plus in this case. Okay, so while that all looked fine, well and good, not everything with the Tripltek tablet is all unicorns and rainbows. There were some issues, and unfortunately, like I said, it worked really well with the DJI products. But Autel, not so much. When it came time to field test the Tripltek with the Autel Evo, I experienced app crashes, extreme latency between the video from the drone and what the drone was actually doing at the time, and a couple of other issues, and I'll show them to you here in just a second. I've got them pretty well documented on some video that I took. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so in this first clip, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the app crash I mentioned. And this right here, you see that error message? That was very common, so as to let me know that the app was going to or about to fail. I did this in several different locations at several different times on a couple of different days, all with the same result. Once I saw that message, and there it is right there, I knew that I was going to have to restart the Tripltek to try to get it to function again, and it was very frustrating. So, okay, so in this case, I'm going to demonstrate and show the latency problem that the Tripltek has with the Autel Evo. And I've made some notes. You'll see them come up in red text on the screen. I'm just gonna let this play, and I might comment where I need to, but see what I'm talking about. As the Evo is doing a counterclockwise turn, the Tripltek is pretty much just seeing the initial shot of when it first went in the air, and the screen is not changing. But I think I timed this at 32 seconds, and it finally caught up to the Evo. There we go. Yeah, 32 seconds later, and you can see it's very choppy. So this is not something you want to have happen to you when you're 1,500 feet away at 400 feet in the air, and then the app crashes. And like I said, just for a second demo, I went ahead and started a clockwise turn, and as you can see, the Tripltek is not catching it. You can see the Evo moving in the other frame to the right, and these were done simultaneously. One was shot on a action cam, and the other one was shot on a Sony. Sony was taking the picture of the Evo drone. And as you can see, the Tripltek is just now catching up to it, and go ahead and land the drone, and there's even a 20-second lag time from the time the drone lands till the Tripltek catches up to that part of the action. Also, that's something you don't want to encounter in the field under any circumstance. So that pretty much sums it up. As a quick summary, yeah, no, I'm probably not going to be using my Evo with the Tripltek device anytime in the near future, unless or until the manufacturer addresses the issue that has come up with the Autel Explorer app. Because the problem is with the app and the Tripltek. To be fair, if you go to Autel's site, it's not like this Tripltek device is an approved device. Autel has always been very closed mouth about releasing the SDK files for manufacturers to work with so that they can plan their apps around it. So there is that, but at the same time, if this is an Android, well, not if this is an Android product, it is an Android product, but there are issues obviously with this Android version, which is 8.1. It's fairly new, but it's not the newest. So these are things that will need to be worked out hopefully in the future so that I can use the Autel Evo with this device. I'd like to. So in the meantime, though, I'm pretty much going to be right about back where I was when I had the DJI Smart Controller and just being able to use my DJI equipment with it, which is good enough for me. I will keep this device in the hopes that things will be worked out. At the same time, this device is much cheaper than the Smart Controller, but it would be nice to have the Autel Evo to work with it as well. Now, on that note, also, since I've been making this video, I have found a couple of other issues that we're going to need the people at Tripltek to fix or take a look at. But the other issue was one of these files, in fact it was the file where I used the AZ screen recorder, which was on the Tripltek tablet. I needed to remove that video file from the tablet onto my computer. Hooked up the tablet to my computer. My computer saw it as something called an MPT device, and that's all it saw. It would not let me open it. When I right-clicked on it for properties, it gave me nothing. No manufacturer, nothing. No details, no way to get a driver in there, so Windows couldn't go out to get a driver. So this is also something that will need to be addressed. The solution for me to get that file off of the Tripltek was to connect it Bluetooth to my phone, and that file transfer of almost 700 megabytes took almost an hour and 45 minutes last night. So yeah, that's something that needs to be addressed to where we can get these video files off of the Tripltek. Doesn't do us any good if they're sitting on there and we need to use them for some reason if we can't get them right onto our computers or whatever device we're using. So once again, that is something else that Tripltek will need to address at some point in the future if they're going to keep a decent customer base, I would figure. But all in all, like I said, I am going to keep this device because it does still serve a couple purposes. I can use my DJI Mavic 2 Zoom. I can use my Mavic Air 2. It does have its own data plan, so hopefully one of these days, if I can ever go live streaming again, I will have the ability to fully use the live stream feature to whereas I can see y'all in the chat, which is something I have not been able to do anywhere up until this point because I still don't have 1,000 subs. So that has always been the workaround. But anyway, I just wanted to pass this on to y'all. I hope y'all find this useful. If you do, give it a like, subscribe, and all that other good YouTube stuff to my channel. And I really do hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.